I'm 80 years old, and 3 weeks ago I got a phone call I wasn't ready for. It wasn't dramatic. No one was shouting. No one was crying yet. Just my friend's daughter, her voice steady and small, telling me her father had passed that morning. Peaceful, she said, in his sleep. I thanked her. I told her I was sorry. I said the things you're supposed to say. And then I sat there with the phone still in my hand, staring at the kitchen table, feeling like something had shifted under my feet that I couldn't name yet. I've been alive long enough to lose people. Parents, colleagues, my wife 11 years ago. I thought I understood what loss felt like, but this one landed differently. Not louder, not sharper, just different, because this wasn't just someone I knew. This was the person who knew me. I worked in the same office for 43 years, came home to the same house, raised 2 kids who now have kids of their own. I'm not special. I didn't build anything impressive or leave a mark anyone will remember. I just lived. One day, then the next, measured my years in morning, coffee and evening news, in birthday dinners and grocery runs, in phone calls I didn't always pick up because I figured there'd be another one soon enough. My best friend and I met when we were 23. We worked in the same building for a while, then didn't. We lived in the same neighborhood, raised families 2 streets apart. We didn't talk every day. Some months we barely talked at all, but we were always there, always assumed, like furniture you stop noticing because it's been in the room your whole life. That's what 57 years does. It makes a person feel permanent, like a piece of the landscape you never question, the kind of constant you build your sense of normal around. I never thought about what my life would look like without him in it. Not really, not in any way that prepared me for the version of the world I'm living in now. His daughter called. The first thing I thought was that I needed to tell him. Isn't that strange? For just a second, my brain went into old reflex mode. Something big happened. I should call him, and then I remembered. And the weight of that remembering felt like stepping through a door that locked behind me. The funeral was small, family mostly. A few of us from the old days. I sat in the BA and listened to people talk about a man I thought I knew completely, and I did know him. But I noticed something sitting there. No one else in that room knew the version of him I knew. The 25-year-old who couldn't parallel park to save his life. The 38-year-old who got passed over for a promotion and sat in my car crying because he didn't want his wife to see. The 62-year-old who told me he was scared of retirement because he didn't know who he was without a job to go to. No one else remembered those versions. And now, with him gone, those versions of him were gone too. Not just him, as he was at the end, but every younger self he'd ever been. All of it erased. Held only in me now and nowhere else. That's what I wasn't prepared for. Not just losing him as he was, but losing him as he had been. The whole archive of a person. The evidence that my own life happened the way I remember it. Because when you lose someone who's known you that long, you don't just lose them. You lose the only other person who remembers when you were different. When you made a mistake you've since been buried. When you laughed at things you've forgotten were ever funny. When believe things you've long since stopped believing. You lose the witness to your own existence. The first few days after, people came by, brought casseroles and sympathy, said kind things. Then they went home, and that's when it got quiet. The kind of quiet that isn't peaceful. The kind that sits heavy in your chest and makes every room feel slightly wrong. I'd find myself setting 2 mugs out. In the morning, not on purpose, just habit. Or I'd think of something I wanted to tell him and reach for my phone before I caught myself. It's the small things that remind you someone's gone, not the big obvious absences, the tiny ones, the routines you didn't know were routines until they stopped making sense. For a few weeks, I kept my phone on the table next to me even though I knew it wouldn't ring. Not from him, anyway. I guess I just wasn't ready to stop expecting it. Wasn't ready to accept that a sound I'd heard for 57 years was just gone now. Permanently silent. I used to think I was good at being alone. My wife passed over a decade ago, and I learned how to fill my days without her. Cook for one, sleep on one side of the bed, make decisions without checking with anyone first. But this felt different, because she and I had built a life together. We'd lived in the same house, shared the same bed, raised the same children. When she died, I mourned the life we'd made. But my friend and I didn't live together. We didn't share a life in that way. We just existed alongside each other. Decades of small moments that didn't mean anything when they were happening. And now that he's gone, I'm sitting with the understanding that those small moments were the whole point. That the life we shared wasn't built in big gestures. It was built on Tuesdays, in ordinary afternoons, and showing up without needing a reason. I don't know what I expected. Maybe I thought grief would look different at 80, that I'd be wiser about it, more prepared, that all the other losses would have taught me something useful. But you're never prepared, no matter how many times you've done it. Each one finds a new place to hurt, and the loneliness doesn't announce itself. It just shows up one afternoon when you're sitting in your chair and you think of something funny and you reach for the phone and then you remember. And there's no one left who would understand why it's funny. No one. To call and say, remember when we, and have them know exactly what you mean before you finish the sentence. Because he was the only one who did. I think the hardest part is admitting how much I took him for granted, not in a cruel way. I didn't ignore him or treat him poorly. We had a good friendship, a real one, but I assumed. I assumed he'd always be there, that we had more time ahead of us and behind us. That 57 years meant we'd have 58, 59, 60, that the future would look like the past, just with more of the same. I can't tell you the last time I called him just to talk, not because something happened, not because I needed something, just to hear his voice and say nothing important, just to exist in each other's day for a few minutes. I can't even remember. The last conversation we had, I've tried. I've gone over it 100 times in my head trying to pull it back into focus, but it's gone. Blurred into all the other ordinary conversations we had. Because it wasn't special. It was forgettable. The kind of exchange you have when you think there will be 1,000 more just like it. And that's the thing about familiarity. It tricks you. It makes you believe that because something has always been there, it always will be. That duration equals permanence. That enough history guarantees a future, but it doesn't. Everything ends, everyone leaves. You just don't think about until the leaving happens. And then it's too late to do anything but sit with what you didn't say. I think about the calls I didn't make, the visits I postponed, the times I said we should get lunch soon and never followed through. Not because I didn't care, but because it soon felt like a promise I could keep later. And later felt like something I'd always have access to. It wasn't, there's a coffee shop we used to go to, nothing special. Just a place halfway between our houses where we'd meet sometimes on Saturday mornings. We'd sit by the window, drink coffee, that was never quite hot enough, and talk about nothing. Our kids, the weather, old coworkers we hadn't thought about in years, complain about our knees, our backs, the way the world kept changing in ways we couldn't keep up with. I walked past it last week, didn't go in, just stood outside for a minute, looking through the window at the table we always sat at, and I thought about how many times I checked my watch during those mornings. How many times have I cut the conversation short because I had something else to do? Errands to run, projects at home, things that felt more important at the time. I can't remember what any of those things were now, not a single one. But I remember the coffee. I remember the way he'd lean back in his chair and say something that made me laugh without even trying to. I remember the comfortable silence between us when we ran out of things to say, but neither of us wanted to leave yet. Those mornings didn't feel significant when they were happening. They felt routine, unremarkable, the kind of thing you do because you've always done it, not because it matters, but they mattered. I just didn't know it yet. It was this one afternoon, maybe 15 years ago now. We were in his garage helping him sort through boxes of old tools he didn't use anymore, things his father had left him, rusty wrenches and hammers with loose heads. We weren't talking much, just working, moving through the boxes, deciding what to keep and what to let go. And at some point we both stopped and just sat there on overturned crates, surrounded by all this junk, not say anything. Just two old men in a dusty garage on a Saturday after the light lid coming in through the small window, dust floating in the air, nothing happening, nothing needs to happen. I remember thinking it was a waste of time, that I should have been home, doing something productive, fixing the fence, organizing my own garage, something that mattered. Now I'd give anything to sit at garage again, to waste another Saturday sorting through boxes of rusty tools, to say nothing and have it mean everything. That's what I didn't understand then, that the ordinary moments were the sacred ones, that meaning doesn't announce itself. It doesn't live in the big events or the milestones you remember to take pictures of. It lives in repetition, in the things you do so many times, you stop noticing you're doing them. In the presence of another person who doesn't need you to perform or explain or be anyone other than who you've always been, until you can't do them anymore. And then you see it all clearly, too clearly, and it's too late to go back. I've lived 80 years, buried both my parents, lost my wife, watched friends disappear one by one, either to death or distance or tea. A slow drift that happens when life pulls people in different directions. And if there's one thing all those years have taught me, it's that we spend too much energy thinking about the wrong things. When you're young, friendship feels urgent, intense. You make plans and promises. You swear you'll stay close forever. You believe that passion equals depth, that the loudest relationships are the most important ones, and some of those friendships fade, and you think that's the tragedy, that you lost something, that you failed somehow. But the real tragedy isn't the friendships that end, it's the ones that last and you still manage to miss them. You still manage to sleepwalk through years of something real because it doesn't feel urgent anymore, because it's just there, quiet, assumed. The fire iron ships that endure aren't the loud ones. They're not the ones you have to work at or schedule into your calendar months in advance. They're the ones that just exist, steadily, constantly, without fanfare or performance. The ones you stop noticing because they've been there so long, the ones that become part of the foundation you build your life on without ever acknowledging they're holding everything up. And those are the ones that shape you, not your career, not your accomplishments, not the things you thought defined you when you were 30 and still believed your job title mattered. The people who stay, the ones who know your whole story, don't need you to edit it for them. Remember the version of you that you've forgotten you ever were, who've seen you at your worst and never edit against you. Those are the ones that make a life worth looking back on, and I'm looking back now. Because that's what you do at 80. You look back more than you look forward. There's more life behind you than ahead of you. And you start measuring what it adds up to. And I'm seeing, for the first time, how much of my life was built in the margins. In phone calls, I almost didn't answer back, as I was tired. In favors, I almost said no to because I was busy. In the mornings, I almost canceled because the weather was bad or I wasn't in the mood. How close I came to missing the whole thing without even realizing it. how easily it all could have slipped past me if I'd been just a little more distracted, a little more focused on what I thought mattered. I wonder sometimes how many people are doing that right now, living in the margins of their own lives without seeing it, assuming, postponing, thinking there's always going to be more time than there actually is. I wonder how many friendships are sitting there right now, quiet and unnoticed, waiting to be seen before it's too late. How many conversations are being put off until next week, next month, whenever things calm down. How many people are being taken for granted simply because they've been around so long. It feels impossible that they won't always be. I don't have an answer to that. I can't speak for anyone else, but I know I did it. For decades I did it, and I didn't even see it happening until it was already over. Not because I didn't care, not because I didn't love him, but because I thought there was time. Because, 57 years felt like proof that we'd have more. Because I couldn't imagine a version of my life where he just wasn't there anymore, until he wasn't. And now I'm here, sitting in that version, wishing I'd spent less time imagining the future and more time being present in the moments I actually had. I regret that. I regret the calls I didn't make, the mornings I rushed through, the afternoons I treated like they were ordinary when they were the whole point. I regret not saying more, not asking more, not sitting still long enough to really see what was right in front of me. But here's the thing, I don't regret having him in my life. I don't regret 57 years, even if I wish I'd paid better attention during them, even if I wish I'd understood sooner what I was being given. Because regret and gratitude aren't opposites. They're not mutually exclusive. You can wish you'd done things differently and still be grateful they happened at all. You can carry the ache of what you missed and the warmth of what you had at the same time. They don't cancel each other out. They just sit together, side by side, like two old men on overturned crates in a dusty garage, not saying much of anything. And maybe that's what wisdom actually is. Not the absence of regret, not having all the answers or making all the right choices, but the ability to hold both things at once without letting either one destroy you. To say, I wish I'd done better, and also say, I'm grateful it happened, and mean both of them equally. Because I can't go back. I can't undo the years I spent half asleep. I can't make those calls now. I can't have one more Saturday morning at that coffee shop or one more afternoon in that garage. It's done. That door is closed, locked. But I can honor what was there. I can let the weight of losing him teach me what having him meant. I can stop pretending I have endless time left to waste on assumptions and distractions. Because I don't. None of us does. Whether you're 80 or 30 or somewhere in between, we're all running on borrowed time. We just don't like to think about it. We like to believe we're the exception, that we'll have more of it than we probably will. That the people we love will always be there, waiting patiently for us to finally show up and pay attention. But they won't. One day, without warning, the phone stops ringing. The chair stops. It's empty. The coffee shop table sits there with nobody at it. And all those moments you thought you'd get around to eventually just disappear. They don't wait for you to be ready. They don't pause while you figure out what matters. They just end, quietly, permanently. And you're left sitting there with a head full of things you meant to say and no one left to say them to. I'm sitting with that now. The reality of it, the permanence of it, the way it doesn't get easier just because you're old and you've done this before. I'm sitting with the absence of a person who was part of my life for longer than he wasn't, who knew me before I became whoever I am now, who watched me become this version and never made me feel like I needed to be anyone else. And I'm learning that you don't move on from something like that. You don't get over it. You don't find closure or heal completely or pack it away neatly into a box you never have to open again. You just carry it every single day. You wake UP and it's still there, sometimes lighter, sometimes heavier, but always there, woven into everything you do and everyone you are. And I'm okay with that, not happy about it, but okay, because carrying means he mattered. It means 57 years left a mark that doesn't just fade because the person is gone. It means I was changed by knowing him, and the change doesn't evaporate just because he's not here to see it anymore. I'm grateful for that, deeply grateful, that I got to know someone long enough to feel this kind of loss, that I got to be known that deeply in return, because not everyone gets that. Not everyone gets 57 years with another human being. Not everyone gets to be seen and understood by someone who doesn't need them to explain or justify why or perform. I did. And it hurts now. It hurts in ways I didn't expect and can't quite describe. But it was worth it. Every single ordinary, unremarkable, taken for granted moment was worth it. So that's where I am. 8 years old. Sitting in a quiet house. Missing someone who won't come back. Wishing I'd done things differently, but grateful I got to do them at all. Carrying both the weight of what I lost and the warmth of what I had, and trying not to let either one crush me. I don't have a neat ending for you. I don't have a lesson that ties everything together or makes it all make sense. Life doesn't work that way. Loss doesn't work that way. You don't get closure. You just get time. And what you do with that time is up to you. I just have my story. This is one piece of a much longer story. And the quiet hope that maybe it reminds you of something or someone. A person in your own life who's been there so long you've stopped noticing they're there. Maybe it makes you think about the calls you keep aiming to make, the visits you keep postponing, the conversations you keep putting off, until you're less busy, less tired, less distracted by all the things that feel urgent right now but won't matter at all in 10 years. I'm not here to tell you what to do. That's not my place. And honestly, I don't think you'd listen even if I tried. People don't change because someone tells them to. They change when they're ready. When something inside them shifts and they can't ignore it anymore. All I can do is tell you what I learned. What it cost me to learn it, and hope that maybe you won't have to pay the same price, because here's the truth. Whether you want to hear it or not, the people you love won't be here forever. The friendships you're taking for granted right now won't last as long as you think they will. The time you assume you have will run out faster than seems possible, and one day you'll be sitting where I'm sitting, looking back at a life that moved too quickly. At times you didn't notice while they were happening, at people you loved but never quite told. On all the ordinary days you rushed through because you thought there would always be more of them. And you'll wish you'd done it differently. You'll wish you'd paid more attention. You'll wish you'd made the call, taken the trip, said the thing you kept meaning to say but never quite got around to. Don't wait until then. Don't wait until the phone stops ringing and the chair stays empty and there's no one left who remembers the version of you that you used to be. Pay attention now, while there's still someone there to pay attention to. That's all I have to say. That's all I know after 80 years of living and losing and trying to make sense of what any of it means. The people you love are still here for now, and that's enough. It has to be enough. Because soon enough it won't be anymore, and all you'll have left is the memory of them, and the quiet, heavy wish that you'd notice sooner. I'm carrying that wish now, and I'll carry it as long as I'm still here. Maybe you won't have to,